Hey, so it's gonna be week 2 of my challenge to turn 1,500 into 40,000 trading penny stocks. I'm out here in the backyard. There's some some fruit. Okay, but anyway, I I had some pretty big losses, and part of me is afraid that I'm gonna blow up my account and make a fool of myself on the internet. Okay, but another part of me thinks that I will learn from my mistakes and grow my account. Anyway, I'll get into the trades now. Okay. Alright, so here are my trade alerts for the second week of the challenge. And now the chart. So the first trade, it was a bad trade because I bought RENN pre-market, and you could see the green circle there and then the red circle where I sold. And the reason why I don't want to buy pre-market is because the volume is usually very low, and so I can't really grow my account trading pre-market if the volume is always low. I want something that I can also eventually trade with a large account and take a big size on. But anyway, I kind of chased the break out there and then sold for a loss. And then here, the next trade was on NOVN. I bought, you could see there, and then where I sold, the red circle. This one wasn't as big of a loss as my other ones. But anyway, you can see that before I sold for a loss, I could have sold it for close to like a 7 or 8% profit, make about 10 cents. But I didn't because I wanted to go for a big gain, trying to make 50 to 100%. Because I thought, oh, this stock should be above $2. Anyway, I sold there, and then I bought the same stock again on the same day because after I sold, it did break. It did do like a spike. And then you see again, I bought around 150 and I could have sold for like 10% profit, but I didn't because I was thinking, okay, this stock should be above $2, maybe even go to 3, and then I was just holding it. I think I held it for 2 nights, and then I sold it on Thursday finally for this one was a big loss. I sold it at $1.10. That was like a 20, almost a 30% loss. And then this stock on ABIO, you could see here, I'm showing the 4-day 5-minute chart. Okay, but here where I bought this day, I decided to take my profit when I knew I was above 10%, and soon after I sold, if I would have waited like 20 minutes, I bought around $7, and then I sold like a little over $8. But if I would have waited like 20 more minutes, I could have made 40%. Instead, I made about 17%. And then you can see if I held it overnight, it gapped up all the way to over $18. And so if I held it overnight and sold it right at market open, I could have made over 150%. But anyway, these kind of big moves, they're hard to predict, because that's kind of what I was doing with the other trades. When I was up like close to 10%, I didn't take it because I was expecting a big move. something like this. But anyway, you can see here the next day pre-market, you can see when it from after the red circle, okay, you see it went over $12, and then the gray bars when they got low, that was after hours. And then the next day where it says Thursday the 2nd, that's when it started to be pre-market, and you can see it almost went back down to $8. So at that point when I was looking, I was up early in the morning and I was looking at the stock. Then I was thinking, okay, I don't feel so bad for selling or in the $8 area. But then I check back like an hour later, I see it in the 12s, and then it just breaks out and reaches like the over $18. But anyway, these moves are hard to predict. So although it might look like, oh, that was a bad trade, I sold way too soon, but that was my mistake when I got those other losses, that I didn't take my 10% profit when I was up, and it resulted in a big loss because I was trying to predict a big move, which is more of a gamble. So anyway, the next trade on this one, this stock was a sympathy play on DFFN. It was really only up because it was in a similar sector, a biotech like this stock, and it didn't have any news, but I knew it was up, and it started around the same price the other one started, and so I knew the only reason why it was up is because the other stock, ABIO, was up. So this is what we call a sympathy play, and so this one I bought close to $6, the green circle. And then again with this one now, with this one I couldn't sell if I wanted to for a 10% gain, because I could have sold it for close to a 10% gain, but I was under the PDT rule, so I didn't have a day trade left. I would have to wait till the next day. But anyway, this stock I was expecting, okay, it's gonna break out like the other one and at least, maybe go over $10. But you can see this one it didn't, and I sold the next day on Friday, and this one ended up being like a 20% loss. Why? Because I was predicting a big move like this one. And that's the end of those trades. And so after all those losses, now my balance dropped below $1,000. On the previous week it was like at $1,100. And so anyway, the moral of the story for my big losses is that I should value consistency. It's a lot easier to predict about a 10% move, and I have proven that I can make about 10% repeatedly or consistently. So if I want to be consistently profitable, I should aim to make 10%, and sometimes this might happen. I might sell way too soon and miss 150% gain. But as you can see, it's if I would have just like bought here and sold, that I could have made 10% instead of having a big loss here. And same thing here, I could have made like 10% instead of having a big loss. So next week I'm gonna just try to aim for just about 10% and stop trying to predict big moves like this, because this is more of a gamble, trying to double your money on one trade and predict 100% or more of a gain. Okay. Did you ever have some loquat fruit? It's pretty tasty. Anyway, that's all for today's video. Goodbye. I will see you next week.